So there's always a time to where you gotta make a rant video. And welcome to the HexCast, first and foremost, everybody. A show that I like to do on and off, preferably 2 times a week, but welcome to the HexCast. So once again, it's funny how people want something and then they can't handle what they get. And the biggest people this cast is supposed to focus on are the people that want dark, the people that want edgy, the people that want those things, but yet they just simply can't handle it when they actually get it. Show that's made by Studio White Fox that knows how to handle dark, knows how to handle edgy. I mean, ReZero, that's a perfect example of dark, edgy, Steins Gate, to a certain extent for sure. But I find it amazing how we get a show like Goblin Slayer and people will ridicule it off their perspective of life. They try to bring real life into it. And what I'm saying is the sexual scene where the goblins and the girl from the party, everyone knows what I'm talking about. Everyone's seen it. You've probably heard about it. I love how people go out of their way to blame Goblin Slayer for being so graphic. Well, I didn't know it was this graphic. And then they belittle it because of that. Well, that is up to you. You get to read the source material. You get to find out information on the show. Go to my anime list. Type it in. What is Goblin Slayer about? Is Goblin Slayer graphic? Go look it up. That's on you. That's not Goblin Slayer's fault. That's your own stupidity. Ignorance. And I love how people try to say episode 1 it just seemed so repugnant. It just seemed like the production was terrible. No, what was wrong with that production? Was it the animation? Because it was. Oh, I didn't see nothing wrong with the animation. The animation looked fine. What was it? Was it the art? No, the art looked fine. I can tell you that. The art looked good. Art looked fine. So what was wrong with the production? Oh, well, it didn't adapt the source material that would have given the characters characterization. Well, first off, if a show doesn't get characterization in episode 1, that most definitely doesn't mean it's bad. ReZero was a show that people love, adore. It's one of the biggest shows that have come out in anime in recent history. One of the biggest. I didn't say it's the biggest. I said one of the biggest, and I think we all damn well know that. Unless you just been living underneath a rock. White Fox knows what they're doing. White Fox handled all that perfectly. They handled it fine. If you're someone who is faint of heart, if you're someone who you don't like the dark and edgy, then I'm not attacking you. I'm simply attacking the people that say they want this and they want that, and when they get it, they can't handle it. I'm simply attacking the people that say, hey, this isn't a good show, only because of the one scene with the goblin and the girl when they sexually assault her. It's in the show to add darkness, to add edginess, because now you know what the stakes are. Episode 1 set up the world that is known as just the show Goblin Slayer as of right now. We don't know what the world's called even yet. It was setting the tempo. And as people who like anime, people who claim they know what they're talking about whenever they're saying a show is bad, you should know that. You should understand that. But back onto the characterization thing. So you say there was no characterization. The characterization was left out. That was in the first chapter of the light novel. Okay, so how many shows have characterization? Episode 1, ReZero didn't. And look, Subaru is known as one of the better characters in anime because he's so fleshed out as a character. He's so understandable as a character. Even if they did skip the source material, it's fine. You can add it later, but I'll tell you this. Episode 1 did have characterization, and it had development. The girl, our main female MC, she saw those things happen before her very eyes. Her squad get assaulted, killed, murdered, whatever you want to call it. And she also got described to by the Goblin Slayer of what went wrong, how it went wrong, and why they failed. That was really essentially indirectly giving her characterization development. It's something that is going to mold her into the future character she will become due to the situation, due to these circumstances, due to these things that happened in her life. That was her characterization. If it's next week, or this week's episode, next week's episode, we're gonna understand why she's a different person. We're going to understand the change from episode 1 to episode 2. Do you know why? Do I got to say it again? Because that was her characterization development. What happened to her party was exactly that. And then afterwards, the Goblin Slayer taught her the wrongs and the rights. He's to be the person that shows her the ins and the outs. For people that say Goblin Slayer is bad, those are the same people that claim they know what writing is. They know the production was bad. No. You know nothing but your biases. Nothing. You take the sexual scene that happened with the goblin holding down the girl, and you say, "Hey, that's not right. Therefore, this show is bad." No, you're just emotional. You're nothing more. You're nothing more than emotional. But I do know this: you're someone who doesn't know what the hell they're talking about. You wanted it. You like dark. You said it, not me. Then how come if that scene wasn't in there, you would never have hated on this show? Kind of embarrassing. You know, I had my brother watch it with me. It's like, dude, check the show out. He watches anime. He's a fluent, he watches anime. Like, he picks it up and watches it. He's a fan. And he's like, they really handled that scene with the goblin and the girl very well. That was dark. That was edgy. That was hard to watch. But that's what it should be. He said that to me. I didn't have to say anything. I didn't have to say that was a good scene. He said it. I said, dude, they do handle things well in the show. And he saw it. And he's like, yeah, they handle that really well. That's how it should be done. And it's funny because he said the same thing when I brought up people bitching about it. He's like, really? He's like, they just need a man to fuck up. That's exactly what he said. That's exactly what he said. I just find that so funny that some of you hate on a show because of your personal feelings. Embarrassing. That's what that is. Okay? So, before you talk, before you open up your mouth, quit saying something was dumb. Quit saying something was written by someone who was young. Because I tell you what, because I've seen multiple people say that. And the fact of the matter is, a 10-year-old, a 13-year-old, 14, 15-year-old wouldn't have been able to use the surroundings that the Goblin Slayer did, explain their action sequences, what he is doing, why he's doing it, how the goblins would react to it based off of their instincts. And also, whenever he went to the guild, the party member, and said, hey, you can't swing the sword in here. You can't do this in here. Hey, that staff right there, that's nothing but diversion. There's a secondary cave right there. That was something that was supposed to make you evade that observation and just focus on that staff so they could flank you from behind. No young little kid would have had that depth. Come on now. Come on now. It's not hard. It's not hard to open your eyes. But it's easy to be arrogant. That's something that is easy to be. Listen, this shows people have their own opinion, but whenever I get pissed off, it's the cancer of the anime community. I get pissed off whenever people think they know something, but no, they're really just saying something based off their biases. Was it badly written, or was it badly written because of the content in question? Quit embarrassing yourselves. Quit saying the stupid stuff on Twitter. Like, do you know, for some people, do you know how it looks when you say biased things? Do you know how it looks whenever you try to make an argument but you have no reasoning? Do you know how bad it makes you look whenever you try to argue something but your points just don't add up? Wow. It's something. Give me logical points. If you think the writing's bad, give me logical points. Make it so I can't, Make it sound like you're contradicting yourself, or, well, downplay your argument. Don't give me production. Don't say the production was bad. No. When the Studio White Fox really had a bad production anyways. That production wasn't bad. Production, that's embarrassing. Wrong to the highest degree. I remember when I replied to that person. I can't remember the person. I don't know the person, but that was embarrassing. The production was bad. And then when the person went and watched it, the YouTuber there tweeting that, he made a video reviewing it and he loved it. Listen, we're not, us as the reviewers aren't always right by no means, but I'll tell you what. We've been around to know the cliches. We've been around to know flaws within writing. We love shows that, some people love shows with their, with the flaws in the writing. But we aren't people that dislike a show just because it has something against our moral compass. It's time to grow up. If you're watching shows like that, it's not their fault. Don't hate the show. Don't say the show's bad because it had that, and you weren't ready for that. If you're someone who isn't the darkest, edgiest person, don't blame the show's fault. That's yours. You had all the tools in front of you to look it up. Ignorance is bliss, I guess. I don't know. Being arrogant to things it's silly. That's your fault. No one else's. Now, and once again, for the people that wanted it, they wanted the darkness, they wanted the edginess, and couldn't handle it, man up. That's all you can do. It's not the show's fault. Show's not bad because of it. It's not the show's fault. Man up. Man up. Grow up. Grow up. Grow up. Grow up. It's setting an atmosphere. It's setting the tempo. It's setting the emotions within the show, just to set it up for the rest of the series. Most shows that have the highest potential. Did you know most of the shows that have the highest potential are dark shows? Because if they write the characters well, whenever tragedy strikes, it and you're more attached to the characters, it makes it more impactful. Subaru Nagasaki, ReZero, Eren Yeager and friends from Attack on Titan. Yeah. It's funny. It's just funny how some people just want to live in ignorance. That's all I got to say. As always, guys, you guys have been hexed. Hope you guys enjoyed the cast. I hope people will grow up. I hope people will man up. I hope people will quit blaming things that are their own fault. Blaming their own faults on other series because they didn't expect that. It's the show's fault. It's the show's fault for not telling me it was rated R and had graphic content. No, it's your fault for not looking it up. Pathetic. I'll see you guys. Bye.